Hey guys, checking out the Nathan Drake collection, the Uncharted remaster for the PS4. And I apologize about the quality in video. I have a good reason. I thought this was going to be the first game I could show you guys on my snazzy new and improved 60 frames per second capture card. When I plugged that card into my 1080p capable television, it broke the television. So, I'm back to a 720p TV, so I apologize about the resolution, but you can still see the 60 frames per second. Hopefully. That was a pretty good headshot. But I wanted to show you that guys' game because PlayStation was kind enough to send it to me, and when a company sends you a game, you have to do something with it, or they get upset and don't send you more games. Also, I kind of wanted to explain for those of you out there who are confused about why is PlayStation putting out so many of these, remastered games. Is it just because Uncharted 4 wasn't ready? No, it's because at one point the user base of people who had PS4s who hadn't had PS3s was about 20%. I'm not sure what it's at now, but there are a large number of people who didn't play these games on the PS3, and they're missing out on the story, and so they put out remasters to get people caught up before Uncharted 4, and it's also for people who, want to be part of the Uncharted 4 beta. It does feel a bit dated. I'm double tapping the jumps because I find it, as you'll just notice right there, kind of loose by modern standards. There's only so much they can do with a remaster as opposed to a remake. So, by the standards of Uncharted 3, the platforming is kind of loosey-goosey on this.
What the hell is this place anyway?
And I think it's more noticeable because it's now 60 FPS, or targeting 60 FPS, which means it doesn't always hit it, but they give it the old college try. There are some graphics improvements, most notably a concussive blast on explosions. Gameplay-wise, yes, I know, I'm just button mashing because I'm panicking because I'm almost dead. Is sort of split the difference between the three games. For me, the combat was best in Uncharted 3. It feels the most like that, but, I mean the melee combat, not the shooting. The 6-axis functionality is gone, which is a good thing, because it was just sort of silly. The 6-axis was an experiment that didn't quite work. But I mean, mostly it's Uncharted with some extra bells and whistles. And, from a story and writing standpoint, it's still up there.
Never a dull moment,
If you do play
these guys aren't messing around.
a lot of Assassin's Creed like me, the platforming is gonna seem funny, like slow in pace. Platforming mechanics have advanced a lot since this game, so be prepared for that. But it's still a good story for people who are story driven and don't care so super much about the mechanics. They just want to play on easy and get the gist of it. And I mean, it is pretty even for a remaster. There are some parts where the mocap looks a little funny because they are working with what they had. In later games, it looks a lot prettier as I play through. I'll show you guys some parts of Uncharted 2 and Uncharted 3 in this version in later videos. Hopefully I will have a TV that sucks a lot less by then. I'm trying to get a new one as soon as I can. I'm not independently wealthy, though, so I'm not sure when that'll happen. But I did want to get that up because I was getting the email from PlayStation going, hey, how'd you like the Uncharted collection? So that meant I had to get something up. And that's the joy of October and November for game reviewers. Grenade, move. We're, full disclosure, from about the end of September onward, as a game reviewer, we are constantly dancing as fast as we can and playing catch up. Oh, that was neat. There is no way to play everything in the pre-holiday period. It is impossible. But even with the number of games I have personally been sent codes for, I am completely underwater right now. I'm not going to lie. I have more games than I know what to do with, which may sound like a nice problem to have, but, you know, ethically you want to do right by the people that send you these products, even though they're not, you know, paying me to review the products. Someday, maybe, but right now they are giving me games, and I appreciate that because I can't afford to buy everything. And, you know, it's, we're not getting these games for fun. We're not getting these games, you know, because we're a good person, give us video games. No, they give us these games because we think they're beneficial to their marketing. And if we don't, you know, review them in a fairly timely, then we're of no use to them that way. And that, I think, is the balance that competent, ethical game reviewers have to strike. We have to recognize that, you know, game companies aren't giving these things to us out of the kindness of their hearts. They're giving it to us because they want to sell games. Now, if the product is no good, we're going to say the product is no good. You know, I've already said this game feels a bit dated, but I'm also going to say, you know, what I think is good about it, because that's the point of a balanced review. But there's no point in getting a balanced review that doesn't come out, you know, early enough to help them out in that way. I'm gonna wait for this cutscene to finish because talking over sucks.
You got that?
Yeah, what is it?
It's Krieg's Marine coordinates.
This is a plot point.
El Dorado.
El Dorado?
So that the bastards killed Sully. Damn it! If the Spanish found the treasure, they had to move it there, to that island. And Drake followed him.
Well, what are we waiting for? I'll get the story, and you get whatever it is you're after. Come on.
I hated Elena in this game. I remember hating her. I softened on her a lot. I liked her as it went on. But I absolutely hated Elena in this game. She just drove me crazy, and I still don't know why, in retrospect. Other funny thing, talking over.
To this tiny island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
It's funny because the camcorder is dated in this game. Nobody uses cameras like this anymore. It seems huge by modern standards.
Will we discover the ruins of a forgotten colony and
It's like a
fortune
tape
in
camera.
Spanish gold? Or does the island have darker secrets in store for us?
And nowadays they would have branded that Sony.
That should keep him from changing the channel.
What the hell was that?
An anti-aircraft fire? This is so not cool!
It's little lines like that that make this still worth playing. They talk like actual people instead of video game characters, and, you know, go Amy Hennig for that. That's what makes her awesome as a game writer. But when I was down in Panama, just a tourist, there were elements of, you know, the local architecture that looked like this game, because part of it is set in Panama. And I'm on a tour looking at all these historical sites, you know, that Sir Francis Drake was at. And I'm like, this looks just like Uncharted! So I outed myself as a big nerd to a bunch of people in Panama. And this game would, you know, be totally slammed nowadays because of the fact they have, like, pin-up girls all over this plane because it's Sully and Sully is Sully, and he's an older dude, and he is of that stock. He is of that generation, and he has girly stuff all over his plane. Nowadays, that would be some affront to humanity, which sucks, because it was a nice way to sort of give you the idea of Sully as a character, the fact that he is sort of older guard, quickly. You know, visuals are a good way to get characters established quickly, and if you take those tools away from developers,
Shit.
then they have to take longer to get into the game, and that kind of sucks, because an old dude being something of a pervert is a totally viable character choice, and I don't like that these things are being over-scrutinized, and developers have to think twice before sort of going with that trope, because it does work in certain situations. And, wow, that looks good.
Strangers trying to kill me, leave my map on a burning plane. Plane is missing. Most likely dead. That's great. Great start, Nate.
And some of Nolan North's objectively awesome voice acting. And these are the moments where you really get to see sort of what the remastered stuff can do. Because trees are easy to remaster and look pretty. And then, of course, you know, these humidity effects were not possible when the original Uncharted came out. Humidity is one of those things that the next-gen processing power has really made a whole lot better. And so, you know, anything in a jungle is going to be that much more awesome. Is there a treasure back here? No. The one thing, again, that is going to be a bit trying for new players is the fact that the platforming controls are, you know, they are what they are. I'm not sure how much they could do about it. So, you know, that sort of little goofy jump you saw right there is still there, and it doesn't move as fast as Assassin's Creed or Tomb Raider or any of those more modern games that, you know, have the benefit of the success of Uncharted reviving the action-adventure platformer genre. Because, oh gosh, like, people who are fairly new to gaming may not realize this genre was pretty much dead after a few failures in, you know, Tomb Raider games for various reasons, none of them necessarily the game's fault. But this sort of game was the dominant type of game for a really, really long time, and with the rise of first-person shooters, it kind of faded for a while. So this used to be a 6-axis part where you had to balance the controller. Not anymore. Now it's just walking across a freaking log. So people who played the games before get a bit of a chuckle about it. I know I do. Blood's punched up, or that's how it looked in the original game, but looks pretty good to me. I think the, I don't remember the long-range aim being that good before, so that may have been improved. Don't quote me on that for certain. It's been a while since I played the original Uncharted. I've played it through I played all the Uncharted games through at least 3 times. I'm not kidding when I say I love the games. Just because, you know, I am of a certain age, and I do like these adventure platformers. They're, you know, the kind of games I grew up with. Things like, you know, the original Tomb Raider, and there's a game called Bug. I forget which system it was for, but it was a main character who was a bug movie star, and so, you know, he had these, the load screens between levels were these, like, you know, tabloid things about this bug who was an action star, and it was a cool little game. It was, you know, trying to get around the violence, but he didn't use a gun. He spit at things, and he could run up leaves and things like that. But I really liked that game. And it's nice to see them coming back now. I mean, I think Sony as a console kept these sorts of games alive when everybody was kind of going, oh no, they're dead, they're done, nobody wants to play these games anymore. And, you know, a surefire way to look stupid in gaming is to say a type of game is dead. It may be out of fashion for a while, but everything seems to come back in some way. And by everything, I don't mean like, you know, gimmicky stuff like types of hardware. I mean, these types of games, whether they be puzzle games or platforming games or shooter games, none of these genres ever quite go away because they all have their, you know, purposes. How do I throw a grenade? That's how I throw a grenade. Let me try to show you the blast radius on the grenades. See that little wobble, that sort of concussive effect? That was not in the original version. That's a nice little touch they've added. I'm seeing that a lot in the games coming out for holiday. These, I don't know what you'd call that, whether they're actually built into the physics engine or they're an artistic touch added after the fact. But it's just a neat little detail. And that's one of the things I'm seeing about next gen stuff, is they're just adding those extra little things that they didn't have the processing power to do. And some of them are I admit, kind of overdone. But you know, it'll settle down. Right now they're playing with these new toys and sort of showing what things can do. Because I do still have friends and, you know, people who ask me about games. They're like, why do I need a gen system? I've only had my PlayStation for 3 years. It works fine. And of course, you know, part of it is that you can't get as many games for the
oh boy,
the PS3 anymore. But, you know, some people are just content to keep playing their old games and then Destiny. So there is sort of, there has to be a purpose for these the upgrade that isn't just, oh, better graphics. Better graphics I don't think is enough anymore. And that may just be my my personal preference. No, don't die. Dying on these things is embarrassing. I am not a graphics first person. Maybe people who have watched these videos for a while know that. I am not impressed by fancy graphics if there isn't a compelling gameplay component as well. If a game looks fancy pants but plays like something from 1995, I'm not gonna really be impressed by the graphics. If there isn't, you know, something meaningful as an interactive game, I wish people would just make animated movies and not charge $80 for something. Good graphics alone aren't enough to justify the cost of these games anymore. There has to be some, either it's just gotta be a joy to play, or, wow, that wasn't very fast. I'm so used to Gears of War and cover vaulting. Oh wow, you really gotta nail the headshots. Yeah, it isn't enough for a game to look good to me anymore, because everything looks good, right? And I know it's like, oh yeah, you can sell that on the box art, and that's a really, you know, easy way to... No, don't die! Don't shoot! Oh, suck. That's a really, to me, a cheap way to sell a game. Oh, the graphics are good. Like, we're getting to the point in games right now where we're hitting the threshold that the human eye can actually perceive on screens below a certain size. And so the graphics enhancements are reaching the threshold of gimmick. And I know that's an unpopular thing to say. I know that people, you know, companies have to push that Titan graphics card and all that stuff. But that's for, you know, not even enthusiasts. That's, you know, you're an aficionado at that point. I mean, I like 60 frames, but I'm not going to evangelize for it. Why? Because most people who are not hardcores or not into esports can't see the difference. And so if they follow a recommendation of mine based on 60 frames per second alone, based on graphic capabilities alone, they're going to be disappointed. And this is the difference between playing games and reviewing games. You have to think of your audience. When you're reviewing a game, you have to make your viewpoint matter in terms of somebody feeling they can trust you to advise them in how to spend their money. And God, I remember when this game came out too, there were complaints that, you know, many of the enemies were people of color and the good guys were all white, and that was a big stink at the time. There was, when this first game came out, for people who don't remember, weren't, you know, PS3 adopters or anything like that at this time. When this game came out, it was still fashionable to hate on the PlayStation. It was Xbox's time. The Xbox 360 had a 1-year head start. And I don't remember where I'm going. I'll fully admit that. The Xbox 360 had a 1-year head start on the PS3, and there was even a price gap between the two systems. So it was really trendy to hate on the PS3 at this time. And those of us who were like, no, this system has a lot to offer, were sort of laughed at the time. But of course, this console generation, you know, war, if you want to call that, I prefer competition, turned out to be pretty much a draw. Shipped units, the PS3 was slightly out in front, but by so little that it was pretty much, you know, a tie. And that's why, like I said, don't count systems out, don't count brands out. They can always come back. It's, you know, until they shut down. And yeah, of course, you know, analysts make good money saying, oh, this is what's going to be popular. Oh, screw off.
Oh boy.
Popular for this coming up. The reality is you can play averages, but unless you're, you know, you really have the pulse of gamers and how gamers think and how gamers make purchasing decisions, you can't make predictions based on raw quality of product alone. I mean, the Sega on paper, the Sega Master System had superior graphics than the Nintendo, but the Nintendo had those games that people wanted to play. And that's what it comes down to. And because we don't know what games people are going to want to play from cycle to cycle, I keep making the same mistake. We're not... it's very hard to predict long term which system is going to rule the day, because it's all about software and it's all about what people can do with the hardware they've invested in. And if the games aren't there, then it doesn't matter how good the system is, which I think is why Sony is showing so many tech demos for Morpheus right now. Yeah, it's cool to go back and play some of these games as a hardcore, because it's a walk down memory lane. It's like, oh man, yeah, I remember when this game came out, everybody was down on the PlayStation. People were calling it Dude Raider and saying it was unoriginal and that Sony had lost it. They were done and it was all Xbox's market. And of course, now, you know, we find ourselves in a situation where the PS4 is way out in front. and it's got that Call of Duty partnership, and it's got that Destiny partnership, and you know, it's the system people are playing third-party games on, and third-party games drive system sales now, and that seems very strange because it's like, well, if you can play on both, how does it sell a system? Well, you know, third-party games are driving the market right now, and part of that is because game companies have to pay so much for anybody to become exclusive right now because they lose so much market share by not having those additional options. And so it's a, you know, in some ways it's a developer's market, in some ways it's not. Gaming's going through a really funny phase right now. And I didn't expect this to turn into a market analysis video, but this is, you know, this is what you get on this YouTube channel. When I play games, my focus is only so much on what I'm saying, so you never know what's gonna come out of me while I'm playing games. But I do show I can talk and play video games reasonably well. Although I did die twice, which was embarrassing. I hate dying in these things. That's the reason I don't do Twitch, by the way, because I hit points where I just die a million times. I have those brain fart parts of gameplay because I don't like being so focused that I can't go, hey, that's a really pretty tree. And this is why I don't play. Oh, did you see that? Different things where you shoot the people in different places. That's kind of neat. I think that was in the original versions of the game, but that's obviously much easier to see with the enhanced graphics, even though I can't show the fully enhanced graphics because my TV broke. And can you tell I'm really mad about that? I'm really mad about that. That TV was only a couple of years old. So mad, and there's no point in fixing it. Might as well just get a new one because cost of repairs now is ridiculous. Don't you hate that you can't fix anything anymore? It makes more sense just buy a new one because after 2 years something is old. I had one freaking color TV the entire time I was growing up. We had an old Quasar cabinet TV. Maybe I will switch to the shotgun. We had an old Quasar TV, and we had that my entire childhood, and it lasted until a bat flew under it and fried itself. TV lasted like a ridiculous amount of time. So whenever I have to buy a new TV every 2 years, because all of a sudden it's 1080p, it's 4K, and all these games require you to stream in this stuff or else you can't stream it you know, during the limited release period, like during the advanced period. So you're constantly playing this catch up, and if you wonder why, you know, game reviewers complain about not making enough money, it's the cost of investment. In order to stay current, we have to spend our own money because, you know, there's a bazillion of us and there's no reason for, you know, various manufacturers to sponsor us because there's people out there getting 1 million views. And so it is expensive, and that's why I get sort of defensive, not on my behalf, but because, I mean, I've got a medium-sized YouTube channel, thanks for your support now. But, you know, these people out there doing it, the vast majority of the games press is people doing it for no money or for very little money. And they're doing it just out of the love of games. And so that's why I've been kind of pissed over the last year and a half when people attack the games press as a whole. Because the reality of the games press is it's a lot of people doing it just for the love of games. You know, they might not be, oh, come on, man. They might not be the most informed when they start, but they love games and they're not doing it, you know, Dorito Pope style. They're not doing it with these big endorsements. You have to put in years before you get even any sort of money in games. You really have to earn it. And I have no idea where I'm going. And so it's really frustrating to me when people, you know, sort of make those assumptions that people are doing it for money or some kind of, you know, kickbacks, or we're rolling in dough. It's ridiculous, you know, the amount we have to spend just to be able to give me that hint. Give me that hint. Yeah, I know, but how do I get up there? I keep falling. It's tough when, and I get it. I get the element that there is a certain mystique to it, and that people want to believe that things are shinier and glossier than they really are. I understand that, and I understand that there is a massive hype machine in surrounding video games right now. But the reality is that the vast majority of people who are covering games make very little money or no money. And, you know, that's why open review systems are important. It's important that game companies are giving review copies to smaller companies. Because the things about reviews is that you got to get them out fairly fast, or else there's just a glut and you only get your regular watching this stuff. But I think this is probably enough gameplay for you guys. Oh, one more gunfight. Okay, one more gunfight. Greater chance for me continuing to die. Can I blow these assholes up? Let's see. Let's see. Can I take a few of them out? Yeah, I got one guy. Okay, that's not enough though. I'm gonna try to shoot them in funny places so you can see the various injury animations. Yeah, he grabbed his knee there, but it was behind the... Come on, cooperate. There we go. Okay. Stuff like that is still cool. I remember the first game I saw do that was Eternal Darkness, and I thought that was just the coolest freaking thing in the world. There you are. Okay, and you have a shotgun. I'll see your shotgun. Eat my shotgun. But yeah, little things like that. I mean, I remember when games couldn't do that. Whoa, okay. And so that's still cool to me. And I know some people are probably jaded by that at this point, but it's still cool. I hit you in the eye patch. But, you know, things like that are still magical to me about games, and I know there are some people that want reviewers to be absolutely merciless in this stuff and like, you know, just punish developers mercilessly for every little mistake. But that's not my view to games. I don't think that actually serves the public, because what the public wants to know is a game fun? And little nuisance level bugs, provided they don't require a restart. That's cool. I don't think those get in the way of the fun. If you have to restart your system because the game has glitched and can't recover, that does get in the way of your fun. But if, like, you know, in The Witcher 3, a horse climbs up a tent because it sees the tent as a solid object instead of, you know, something with soft sides, that's just funny. I'm not, you know, that's amusing and it's still fun. And so I don't think that detracts from the fun. So, you know, in a numeric score, I wouldn't take points off for that. I'd just point out they do happen. Something that actually gets in the way of something being fun. And yes, I know fun is subjective. Wow, that's really beautiful vegetation there. That's different. And that's, you know, why certain game reviewers become trusted, because people feel like they can, like I said, trust them with their dollars. And you have to be careful not to be too tough or too, you know, generous at the same time. And it's odd, because at the same time, you know, you want to... This is probably a bad idea. Yep. Whee! Oh, that was kind of a good death, though. I guess I was supposed to do that. When they add a little extra animation like that, it means they expect people to die there. And they reward you for doing what they predicted. I don't even know where I'm going now. But this is pretty, isn't it? Oh, I guess, yeah. It's here. Hold on. There we go. But that's about a half hour of Uncharted gameplay. Oh, see, this is gonna be one of those parts where I die a bazillion freaking times in one section for no reason at all. So I'm gonna sign off now. Hope you enjoyed. See what I mean? Holy cow. Does anybody else do this? You just get stupid at one point in the game for no reason. It's like you've been playing for a set period of time, and then your ability to just be at all awesome just takes a giant crap. Or is it just me? You know? I hate that. This is why I don't do Twitch. People are like, why don't you do Twitch? Why don't you stream? Because of moments like this. And I know what assholes are on the internet. And I know I'm a woman, and there's automatically that thing of, it's not just a bad moment. It's that women have to be twice as good a gamer to be seen as half as good. And don't get pissed off. That's just the reality. I've been here for 10 years. But this is why I don't do Twitch. Because I like being able to play video games in my underwear. So I'm not going to have a boob cam while I'm playing. All you're going to get is my opinions on games. Because I tried that once. For those of you who wonder, this is the last thing I'll do in this video. Why I don't do videos like that one I did where look at the boobs when you're stressed. Because that resulted in an MRA website hit piece on me. And people calling me a liar for months. After the fact, a dumb little video I did that I was trying to tell everyone, please be calm, you know, don't lose your shit about this, you know, let's all have nice things here. What's going on? This is why we can't have nice things is a real thing, and certain miserable people decided to make an issue of something that shouldn't be issues because they have an agenda, and it was an easy thing for them to sort of seize on. And so that's why I don't do that stuff, because it is not worth it to me to have that hassle for a month after one video. It's just not... I respect my viewers way too much to have comments polluted with garbage. We have very good commenters on this YouTube channel, and I want to keep it that way. And so, you know, I just want to keep this a civil place where ideas come first. And so, you know, it was an attempt at having a bit of fun. It didn't work. It's not, you know, I don't want this to become a big pissing match between me and my alleged political adversaries. So I just stopped doing that stuff. I don't have to. It's not why people come here. I'm fortunate enough that people who come to this YouTube channel respect my opinions. So that's why I don't do that stuff anymore. And it's too bad. It's too bad, because I don't think anyone should be limited in, you know, things they do to try to just have a bit of fun and not take themselves so damn seriously. But when I do something to not take myself so seriously, make it into a serious thing, I don't do it anymore, because life is too short to fight people over boob videos. Like, that's just dumb. There's, you know, that's time not spent playing video games. And what the? That was cool. It looked like it was alive. I don't think it was alive, but that was kind of a nifty animation. Will it do it again? Will it do it again? Or was that like a one-time thing? Oh, it was a one-time thing. Too bad. That was neat in a creepy way. But I'll sign off here. Hopefully you guys got enough gameplay. I will try to do a Uncharted 2 and an Uncharted 3 video eventually. But now I can tell Sony that yes, I did do something! I did! Oh, here's a plane crash. Yay!